please allow me to take these opportunities to start the meeting between Urban Innovative Graduate School from Yokohama National University, Japan, and Faculty of Architecture, Konkani University, Thailand. Today, luckily, we have the representative of the Dean, Assistant Professors, Chamnan Bunya Putipong. Yep. He is the former Vice President of Infrastructure Development, Konkani University as well. Former, he used to be my boss. Okay. Now, I would like to introduce other academic staff. Assistant Professor Pornalong Chanuwong. He is the Director of the Master of Urban and Regional Planning. Next, Dr. Piraniti. Dr. Piraniti Akson. He's also work for the Urban and Regional program as well. The last one's Assistant Professor Monsicha Pechalanon. He's the former Dean of Faculty of Architecture, Konkani University. And after this, key persons, Associate Professor Lavi Hanpachern. He's Director of the PhD program of Urban and Regional Planning. And we also, Dr. Nayatat Tanmit. And surrounding you by the many young generations is a student in our programs. Welcome everyone. Now we're gonna give you a short presentations of Konkani universities. Yes, take about 5 minutes. And after that, I will start a lecture. Today we have 2 lectures. First lecture from Professor Nakamura and take about 1 hour. And after that, the second one is from the Assistant Professor Shino. And after the finish lecture, we gotta have like a discussion, sharing the idea how we go further from this lecture to our cooperation between two universities. Okay, get start presentation. Thank you. Thank you for presentations. Before we start lectures, I would like to invite everyone on the stage. We're gonna have the group photo together. ขอเชิญทุกคนบนเวทีครับเดี๋ยวเราถ่ายภาพหมู่ด้วยกันครับ Dr. Chamnan, we're going to give a present to Professor Nakamura, Shino Sensei, and 2 students. Go to the stage, one by one. Okay. Team leaders, Professor Nakamura. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Next, Assistant Professor Shino. Thank you very much. We have two graduate students for the master course of Urban Innovations program. Yep. Thank you. And keep the best for last. You? เอามา3 อัน Sorry. Yes, okay. พี่หนุ่ยขออีกท่านหนึ่งครับ ขอบคุณครับผม Okay. We always keep the last for the best people, so you are the most lucky of the team. Thank you. โดย Professor Nakamura นะครับจะคุยเรื่อง TOD นะครับเรื่องยอดนิยมที่กำลังจะเกิดขึ้นที่เมืองขอนแก่นนะครับแล้วก็เรื่องของ Smart City เมืองทันสมัยนะครับส่วนรายการที่2นะครับ The second lecture by Assistant Professor Shino นะครับ about 30 minutes she gonna talk about the transit oriented you're gonna talk about what topic?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Fumihiko Nakamura, and another Vice President of Yokohama National University and Professor in Urban Transit Planning. It's my great honor to be here, invited to the lectures. And I remember I have been visiting the Konkan University a few times already. And I remember last two times I watched the video. This is the new one. And the video was very, very inspiring me. And at that time, Yokohama National University didn't have the video. And as a vice president, my job is international affairs, domestic affairs, and also public relations. So I remember last time when I returned to the Yokohama, I asked my staff to make the video. And now we have a similar video about the Yokohama National University. Would you give it 2 minutes? I like to show our university. It looks and sounds very similar. May I start my lecture? Today title is Transit-Oriented Development and Smart City Discussion. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Fumihiko Nakamura. I was born in Niigata Prefecture in 1962 and graduated from University of Tokyo in 1985. And I was working in the University of Tokyo as a research associate. And 1992 to 1994 is a very important time point for me because I have been working in AIT. As an assistant professor in the Department of Human Assessment and Development. That made a lot of change to my life. Before that, I have no interest in studying in developing countries. But staying there, I got a lot of information about Thailand. I made a lot of Thai friends at that time. And so, I decided I should devote my academic career, some part, not a full, but some part, to the studying in the developing countries. And after that, I got a position at Yokohama National University, and up to now, I have been working there. And I got a full professor position in 2004. In Japan, to get a full professor is, comparing with the case in Thailand, it's relatively easier. And now I'm keeping this position even now. And once again, it's our campus. It's located to the port city Yokohama, with population now the 3.7 million. It's the second largest city in terms of population in Japan. And the campus is located 3 to 4 kilometers from the port area, but due to the poor public transport network, staying in the university, we cannot feel any sense of the port. It's rather the hillside area. Okay. So today, firstly, I'd like to introduce the basic concept of the TOD. And the second part, I introduce some cases mainly with a photo. And also, I pick up some slides about the smart city. And the final one, the discussion slides, especially considering the Konken city, what kind of point should be important when we consider the future image of the city. And the first one, I had in total 4 Thai students so far. The first one is now working in King Mongkut, and the second one is working somewhere. Third one is working in Chulalongkorn University, and she is Dr. Pimsak Sanit, and she made some slides for us. And as many of you see, when we learned the urban planning, the first famous cases of the Garden City in Ebenezer Howard, and it's starting from there. The community discussion has been continuing so far, and anytime from the transport planner's point of view, of course, one of the majority of the issue is car traffic. However, also we have been focusing on pedestrian issues. And the TOD words comes 1980s, and in the 1990s, I guess it becomes formalized. And the most famous one is the one of the masterpiece done by the famous architect Mr. Carl Thorpe. The name of the book is The Next American Metropolis, Ecology, Community, and the American Dream. And here he showed that this diagram within the working distance with the mixed use, and the various type of the residential area should be located near walking distance to the railway or the light rail stations. But also the second red word, the walkable environment, is a very important keyword when we once again review his textbook. And after that, especially once it's formalized in the United States, the professor Robert Savello, he's a professor in the University of California, Berkeley, he published several books, and among them, he said 3 Ds. One is the density. Of course, higher density is better. The second one is the diversity, mixed land use and extensive choices of the housing. And the final one is the designing, pedestrian-friendly oriented design. So we should be very careful of these 3 words. And then we can understand, for example, if I say high-rise flat, an apartment near the public station, public transport station, it's TOD. Yes, it is a part of the TOD, but it's not enough. Then, if I say shopping complex and public services nearby the stations as well, it's enough. Maybe it's still not. What's missing? More important one, especially for me, from a transport planner's point of view, is firstly, working environment. It's very difficult to say here because the weather is very so hot. But even though, we should consider better working environment. And then, second, reliable service of public transportation connecting to the city center to achieve lower share of private cars. Whether you have this idea or not, then I think the quality or the value of the TOD might be different. What's the goal? We should reduce higher level of dependence on the car traffic. We should reduce this. So we should attract more people from the car usage to the public transport usage. Of course, the development is very important, working environment is important, and also the reliable service of public transportation is very important. All those elements should be combined when we consider TOD. That's the TOD basics. And one more. If we design the new city, it's rather easier. But in many cases, we already have the city, structure, activities, spaces. So we should modify them. And at this moment, many people are using private cars or the motorcycles now. So we should focus on these guys, how we can persuade or how we can make them discouraged to use private cars or motorcycles, rather working on public transportation. We don't say all. from the traffic engineering points of view, if we can successfully attract 10% of the car users, maybe the situation is dramatically changed. So 10% is a minimum requirement, but whether we can do or not, that's the point. Then learning from the cases. Firstly, today I pick up the Portland. I heard the mayor of the Portland will visit to the Konkan City tomorrow. I didn't know that. It's a very big coincidence. And starting from the about the Konkan City, once again, let me go back to some drawings by the architect Carl Thorpe. He picked up the two main cities, Sacramento and Portland, as his case study, and he draws several ideas of the high-density TOD-like areas. I don't think here the many of the people here has a background in architecture. Therefore, I don't have to explain the detail. Maybe the red is shopping-related issues, and the yellow is related to the residential area, something like that. So you may see, and this one, it's a rather low density area, but you may find the bus stops or the light rail stops around there. Yeah, there's some dense development proposed. And it's some kind of the new residential development around the station, surrounded by the small canal. They propose some condominiums, apartment. So those are the basic ideas. And in the suburban area, detached housing cases also they redesign the street network, which could be more friendly to the pedestrians. And it's the network of the light rail marks in Portland. You may find the center, the Pioneer Square, the yellow line and the blue line, and the orange line, the green line, the red line are coming together. It's a center, and the west one, Olenko and Hillsborough, and the east one is Gresham, and also south from Milwaukee. It's small, not different from the big city Milwaukee, a small area Milwaukee. So, and you may find the PSU. It's not the Prince of Songkla. It's the Portland State University. Okay. So it's the basic network, and in the city center area, it works like a tram, a streetcar running very slowly. And in the suburban area, it will run in the dedicated right of way with 60 or 65 miles per hour. It's around 90 to 100 kilometers per hour. So. And it's in the downtown area. It's like the streetcar driving very slowly. And it's at the Orenco station. It's at the western area in the fringe of the city. It's a kind of a good example of TOD. Formerly, there almost nothing. And around the station, intentionally they invited the middle-sized development with a higher density. And here's the buildings of the office and shopping complex and also the apartment. And from this picture, it's difficult to see, but here's it's easy to access from the platform. No need to cross the street, just crossing one truck or the LRT, and easy to access to any buildings like this. So it's also near around the station area. So we don't have to worry about the level crossing on the street with heavy full of the traffic. Rather, less traffic here, so easy to access to the buildings, or shops, or the office, the housings, without taking care of the private cars or traffic accident. I think that's a very important point. Okay. And here another movie. Once again, I'm sorry. It's this direction is to the downtown. It's a morning peak. It's very congested, and you can see the light rail is faster than car. That's the point. Intentionally, the track is located next to the highway. So every morning, all the people understand light rail is faster. That's a very important point. Okay. And even though the statistics show, comparing with the New York in the bottom right, the Washington D.C., the Portland is a lower level of share of the public transportation usage. In terms of commuting, around 10 or 15%. So, but we should understand, without the LRT, this statistic becomes completely different. So it works very well because the Portland is a middle-sized city. Okay. Next one is the Curitiba. Last week I was in Curitiba. It's very far. And today I borrowed the one set of the slides from my friend Kasho Taniguchi. It's not Curitiba, but a typical Brazilian city. I don't know how to solve this. We should give up. But I'm afraid in Konkan it's happening? No. But sometimes happening. Yes. And the traffic jam is if we can, in case of São Paulo, it's a larger city in Brazil. The cost of the emission traffic jams per year is dramatically increasing so far. And some cost is paid by the car users through the gas tax, but most of the cost is not paid well. And many of the architect people know the architect Oscar Niemeyer. He made a very beautiful city, Brasilia. When you see the map, it looks very beautiful, but the reality is this. It's a lot of traffic, and to walk around the area is very difficult. I visited Brasilia 6 years ago, and I tried to visit a lot of the good architecture, but I didn't have the car, so I and my student walk through, but it's almost very hard work, especially to cross the street. They never stopped. But at the same time, another city, Curitiba, is like this. So many people, there's one very big street, the core of the city center, and so many people enjoying the morning and evening and the daytime and the weekend. So we are very proud of this area. We concentrate a lot of people. Okay, and how it works. Curitiba, Brasilia seeked the kind of the modernized city with the skyscrapers. The density is a little lower, but Curitiba didn't follow the idea. Rather, the compactness is one of the key words. Is the height of the buildings is a little lower, but they set a strong focus on the density. And why it's a compact? So from the one activity to the next activity, it's a movement. We call it a trip. So how to reduce the distance is the first things. And second one, how to encourage the use of the public transport and working. And life and work and play all in one place concept is also the compactness. And the greenhouse effect gases such as the CO2 emitted by the transportation vehicles can be reduced up to 35% if we successfully design the compact cities. So the Curitiba's idea is the axis. We call it the development axis. You may see there are the offices and residence and shops on the same street. And here's the public transportation corridor, actually the busways. And oh no. And the one street here, it's the local traffic with a smaller volume and slower speed. Therefore, a pedestrian can cross the street with not so strong difficulty. So in this area, you can live and you can enjoy shopping and you can commute, sometimes by walking, sometimes by bus. No need to feel to use public and private cars. Rather, working and public transportation enough. And originally, it's a small city, and it increasing gradually. And in 1966, they introduced this concept. But formally, the first thing they did is constructing a street. At this moment, there are a lot of existing development. It's a very, very low density. However, the city municipality introduced very strong enforce strong controlling the zonings. Along the busway is the only one area where the high-rise apartment is accepted. Therefore, keeping this rule 10 years, 20 years, and finally we'll get the lot of buildings along the street. So the point here is that firstly, they invested transportation on the bus. After that, by keeping the strong zoning control, then successfully they got the compactness. And also they are considering public transportation and the street network and land use together. So it means combination of the land use and public transportation means a social development. Combination of the land use and street network is economic development. And the combination of street network and public transport is a contribution to the environment. So those three are the balanced. And the structural architecture at this moment is like this. You can find a lot of the condominiums or apartment along the busways. And now we have the 5 busways. Successfully, 4 busways are attached with high-rise buildings, like this. Oh, yes, like this. And so, you may see the 2 streets. Those are for the fast traffic. Normal traffic use those streets, and center is the buses and slower traffic. And all the bus system is done by the private operators. However, strongly controlled by the city. All the fare revenue is automatically moved to the city hall. And the city hall distribute the money once again to the operators. So the drivers, collectors never touch the cash. That's the point. And the mission of the bus driver is to earn the money. No. The salary is provided by the city. It's a private operator, but the city pays the money. So the driver's mission is to drive safely only. They don't have to care about the number of the passengers. What they should do is driving safely. I think it's a big difference from the buses in this country or the neighborhood countries. And the color is different. It's meaning the functions. Red one is on the busways. Blue one is on the busway as well, but it skips several stops. And silver one is another special bus connecting directly the several important points. And green one is the inter-district one, and the yellow one is conventional one, and the orange one, the feeder one. So the operator is different, but the color identifies a role. Therefore, once you learn, so it's very easy to understand. And the city center formerly like this, but in 1972, yes, they changed like this. It's a 1 week job. So if it spent many days, it never works. Mayor suddenly changed. After that, there's some troubles actually, but the shoppers gave up because the environment becomes much improved, and the citizens, especially children, are very happy to be here. It's the Kurichiba. So it's a little bit different from the TOD original concept, but we should understand development and public transportation and walkability are well connected. It's the Kurichiba, okay? And it's a very interesting statistics here. You can find the, please, I leave these slides, and so please check these small figures, and it shows how much passengers they are carrying. It's very amazing. And at the same time, it's a newest information. Now the Kurichiba is facing the very big motorization. If we count the number of the vehicles, bus represents less than 1%. but bus is carrying 45% of the passenger flow. So we can see the role of the bus is very important here. This kind of statistics is very important. So it's the Kurichiba. Bus is working very well. The last example is today I picked up the Tokyo, no, actually Yokohama, and the Den-Toshi line. It's a railways like this. It's a part of the Tokyo Railway Company project. They opened this Den-Toshi line in 1965, and at the same time they started the development along with the railway lines. We call it the Tama-Den-Toshi development. It basically, technically speaking, land readjustment technique was applied in this area. And Tokyo Railway Company becomes one of the member of the organizing committee. And formerly, a lot of the farmers, they selling some part of their land to the Tokyo Railway. And the railway buys bought those land, and readjustment is done, and this cost is paid by the once again Tokyo Railway. So it's a very interesting idea, and Tokyo get a lot of benefit, and the farmers get a benefit, and the railway is working very well. And according with this railway, traffic jam is survival. So in this case, the business center means the Tokyo core area. So the new railway line comes and the new residential suburbs are provided at the same time. And at the same time, they invite some shops and businesses along the railway. In that sense, it becomes a very good example of TOD. Robert Savero, the professor at the University of California, Berkeley, visited the Tokyo in the 1990s, and his textbook, he devoted one chapter about this Tokyo project. It's a very famous one. And Tokyo is a very unique railway company. In Japan, more than 20 private railway company. I think that Tokyo is one of the best company who has a very strong interest in the city planning. Development, and they studied a lot, and they tried a lot. Some are successful, some are not. And in the Den-Toshi line is one of the successful cases. In the originally the scenery like this, some apartments are built, but some areas still abandoned. So, but one by one, Tokyo worked with original landowners, and they talked a lot, and finally it becomes a residential areas. And one of the core points we named the Tama Plaza Station. In the former days, it's just a station, but now it becomes a very big core point with a lot of the shopping complexes. And it's a former days scene. It's not so beautiful. And it started to have the shopping center. And then a lot of the passenger comes here, it becomes very congested. And now it changed to the bigger complex, and like this. And it's a proposal, and a few years ago it completed like this. It's a station. It's like the gymnasium, but it's a station. And it's now attracting a lot of customers. It works very well. It's a bus terminal as well. And it's the maps. And in the Tokyo area, development was done along with the railway development. Therefore, if we take the map of the density, you can find all the density areas along with the railways. And if we take the modal share, you can find the 25% of the railway. And but in this figure show, even in Tokyo, comparing the 1968 and 1998, share of the automobile becomes twice. So that means that TOD is very, very successful. And in terms of the commuters, majority are using railways. But if we take other type of trip, including shopping, private businesses, any other things, the share of the automobile is becoming increasing up to 2010. After that, recently, we don't have the figure today, but now once again, share of the automobile becomes decreasing. It's a very interesting phenomenon. But we hope the younger generation, they are very well disciplined in some case. They never stick to the car ownership. They never stick to the license. They prefer to enjoying their time in various ways. But anyway, now. So then final case, my favorite city, Bangkok, airport rail link. I hope you know airport rail link connect the Payatai or the Makasan to the Suvarnabhumi airport around 28 kilometers. I remember 2010, the very big advertisement, the German techniques introduced here, and the express one connecting from the airport to the Payatai station, 16 minutes, 16 minutes, with 160 kilometers per hour. I used it many times, but there are almost no passengers. One is frequency very low. The second one is especially to have the luggage. The Payatai station structure at that time was worse. Therefore, it's not convenient. And instead, the state railway Thailand has a very special promotion to the local residents. Then, local users are starting to use this system. And 4 years later, it changed. They abandoned express service, and after that, all the train becomes a local train. It stops a few stations. And what's happening is very interesting. Even in case of a local train, it's around maximum is 120 kilometers per hour, and it's very fast, and it's very convenient. It's their dream. It's future network, the railway network in Bangkok. I hope it will be realized soon. And it's the airport rail link. And one of the surprising issue is this. It's a one station, and formerly it has the so-called the gated community, and on the map, gated community is close to the airport rail link station, and it was not connected at the beginning. So the Bantapchan station, and last year I visited and I found it's connected. Not beautiful, but it's connected. Here's a gate. And to me, it's very difficult to enter this controlled area. And my dear student Dom, she advised to me, given one idea, and I did. The idea is like this. I talked with the gardener. I said, I'm a Japanese. I'm rich. Actually not. But I'm rich and I'm concerned to buy one house here. So gardener feel very happy, and we entered, yes. Inside, yes, like this. And it's also, I was very surprised, the bicycle and the small motorbikes here, and like this. So a certain number of the people are using airport rail link. So it's a kind of the TOD, near the station, walking distance, the good residential area. Thank you very much. So, of course, the original developer, landowner, never thought that. Airport rail link company never thought that. But now we have the connection. It's very interesting. And at the same time, the lot of the motorcycle parking and the park and ride system, those are also attract a lot of passengers. And even now, or today, this morning also I used, and I was also surprised a lot of passengers here. So it works very well. Then may I move to the next discussion on a smart city. What's a smart city? There are a lot of definitions here. And for example, if we see some reference in the United States, there are a lot of projects including smart cities. And even in Southeast region or Asian region, China or Taiwan, a lot of the ideas, but mainly it's the energy saving issues. And also, the ICT is another keyword. ICT could be used for the energy saving or here disaster safety, elderly growing, education, globalization, waste management, water management, and infrastructure. The ICT, information and communication technology, is another keyword. And in Japan, several websites using these slides. It's a smart community. But you can find here, I cannot find any space of the pedestrian here. So maybe the drawer of this picture never thought about the walkability. Very, very strange network of streets here. But the energy saving is one of the key issue, and public transport, they never say public transportation, rather also public transportation system should be efficient, okay? And it's a mega solar panel, it's energy issues, and also the CO2 emission, it's what's a Kashiwanoha. It provides the CO2 emission information which can be shared by the residents. And home energy management system is also one of the key issues with the smart city. Each of the residents feel how we are saving, how we are wasting the energy. And infrastructure, waste management, water management, energy management, transport management should be connected by the ICT. But here you can find there's a bus and the light rail and the cars. No one is working here. So that's a problem. Okay. And as you know, the SDG goals covers 17 actual ideas, and also it includes the traffic, transportations. However, but once again, when I say by new buildings with energy saving mechanism, it's not enough. By introduction of the environmental friendly transport modes such as light rail transit, it's not enough. By street with a lot of greeneries, I have to say it's not enough. What's the needed? Firstly, all the sectors should be smart. Smart here means by aid of the ICT, and it should be environmental friendly, and they should be connected, and all the information could be shared, and energy saving should be achieved, and less dependency on private cars should be achieved as well. In this context, pedestrian or public transportation should be considered together, and it should be connected. So, in summary, especially when we consider the Konkan City's case, first, generally speaking, TOD would be involved into the smart city concept. Generally speaking, more care is needed on existing urbanized area for energy saving and less costs. Special patterns of smart city should be equivalent with that of TOD, with reliable public transportation modes. ICT technology should be utilized as much as possible to enhance the perception of the citizens, as well as to make all the systems more efficient, safer, and more reliable. And when you say sustainability, 3E, environment and efficient and equity should be considered, but at the same time, management and governance, those two words should be the keys. And they're connected, the shared, efficient, involved and included, respected, we should respect the existing activity, existing system, and workability. Especially in case of Konkan City, light rail and Sonteo should work together. And city bus, at the airport, I was surprised, and at the meeting with the municipality and the vice mayor, also I'm very satisfied and pleased. There's a possibility of the city bus is also here. So, but those should work together. And what's the target? The target should be the modal shift from cars and motorcycles. As I said, 10% is the minimum requirement, but it might be enough at the first stage, and should be done strategically. And the push and pull package is inevitable. So we should show the better system of the public transportation, and also we should control the car usage and motorcycle usage. Both sides are important. Sustainable financial mechanism is needed for all the public transport modes. Investors are considering the investment first, but as the planner, we should make the system sustainable, especially from the financial points of view. Therefore, we should consider the money flow. One example is like this. Car and motorcycle users should pay more, and this income could transfer to better public transportation. And all the main functions should be located along the LRT. I hope it will work soon here. And condominiums, affordable housings, schools, public facilities, offices, hospitals also, and meeting rooms, shopping complex, those should be located very, very close to the light rail transit station. And Konkan University could be the leading showcase where no one, it's very difficult, I feel, no one feel we don't need a motorcycle and cars. Or in my next visit, without using the brands, if I can be reaching to this lecture room. That's one of my dreams. But anyway, not only to the students, but also for the faculty, the staffs, if many of them feel we can enjoy public transportation, we can enjoy working, even inside the university or connecting to the downtown, then from a transport point of view, it could be the very important issue. So I hope the Konkan City, as the middle-sized typical developing cities, it can show the good example as the smart city which will involve the concept of TOD. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Actually, it's a good case study from city to city, but I see the difference of each country. The main thing is people behavior. I think for you change, even you have a very good theory in urban design transportation, but I think the behavior is very hard to change. For example, in KKU, you cannot change the behavior of a student to use the shuttle bus, even though the shuttle bus is very good, very excellent. Air condition it's cool, and it's run around very fast, but seems like less students use it, less staff use it. So by means of design the transportation, I think behavior is very important. Maybe we cannot change this generation. We should prepare for the next generation, I guess. Thank you.
And I want to share with the Professor Shamnan. I think that if we cannot change the behavior, but I think we should use some of the tool or the strict enforcement for some kind that you suggest us the price of the parking and the small road for close the roads to change the strong regulation. Is possible for Thai, and how do you think that we can use this tool in Thailand?
Thank you very much for the good opinion and comments. Yes, yeah, you're right. Yes, the behavior is the key issues, and even in case of Portland or the Creech River, they have a lot of troubles. And the background is different, and the behavioral mechanism is different, and also they are facing. And one of the idea is, yes, it's how to control. For example, in case of university, the bus looks very efficient, but from the each of the staff or student point of view, to use a motorcycle is much more convenient. Therefore, no one uses buses. It's normal, I think. So if we want to make the people to use the bus should be relatively convenient. It means, as I said, the car usage of motorcycle should be relatively inconvenient. So the idea is a good example. The bus, when you use a bus directly connecting one point to 2 points, But if you use a car, you cannot use this street. You should use like the detouring route, or there are some gate and you should pay 1,000 baht, something like that. So time and money is a basic factor when we consider the modal choice. It means in terms of the payment, in terms of the time consuming, public transport should have the priority. Otherwise, just providing a good vehicles or air conditioning, waiting space, it never be used. It's anywhere same. Therefore, it's a decision of the president, I think. And once again, if public transportation is not a perfect tool, so therefore we should limit the possibility. For example, connecting one faculty to the headquarters, yes, public transport is very convenient. It means in this trip, to use a car, to use a motorcycle is dramatically inconvenient. Then you can attract these staffs or students related to this activity. So it could be a starting point. So the suggestion might be in this very big campus and so many faculties there, picking up one faculty here or not, I don't know, one faculty, and checking the movement of the staff, so the student, and controlling the street usage, or charging the parkings, and you should watch how the behavior change. But I'm afraid, I have been involved in many projects in Japan, and many of them are not successful. In one case, I crossed some trips. What's happening? People change their behavior. I expecting they change from the car to public transport, but actually what they do, they change the destination. They use the car to another one. Therefore, we should check the behavioral mechanism so carefully. But I think I have been knowing the Thai people for more than 20 years, and the Thai people are very wise and very realistic. Therefore, if it's faster and cheaper, they use public transport. Even in the BTS, I remember 1999, 2000, the BTS, almost no passengers there. But we understand it's faster. They understand faster, then gradually they got that. So, therefore, yes, if it's fast and cheaper, it will work. Yes. Yes, but I think we can be more quick. Okay, thank you.
Actually, I'm not in the field of urban planning, but I have a question about the wording mixed use. And it's different from zoning, right? In the old day, the design of the city, they separate zoning of the city to be separated. But now the mixed use is the new word. What you have the idea about this?
Historically speaking, in the United States, several planners had a definition. Mixed use means one big buildings contain 3 or more functions. It's a mixed use. And about the zoning, the new definition of zoning, mixed use. So the zoning itself is a commercial or an industrial residence, but another definition, mixed use. So then it works.
For your best presentation, because a student and I have been used like a public transport, I think that I am the most used public transport here, because actually I have a motorbike. Actually, for example, if I want to go to downtown, I take the motorbike and I park at the library, and then I take the Songtao, and then I go to the old terminals, and then if I want to go to the new terminal, I take the city bus. So the problem that I met is that, for example, I have to take around 40 minutes or 1 hour to reach the old terminal. And then I have to wait for around 20 minutes to wait for the setup bus to go to another place. This is the problem that I have met. So I would like to suggest that like we have like still the problem is the lack of connection, and also even I have used the applications, but for example the term like in application 2 minute bus will arrive, but actually 10 or 15. So this is the problem that we have met. So in your opinion, what should be suggested? How we can improve the student or another to use the public transport? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. So you are very good students. yeah, if the public transportation takes so long time, normally no one use it. Yes. So once again, public transportation should be faster and punctual. Otherwise, by the application gives the information, but application never rush up the speed of the public transportation. But the application is very important because it gives the data. Based on the data, traffic engineer can analyze the problems. In that sense, I think that's very important. But as the user, please understand, the real-time information never make your travel shorter. Just to give the information, okay? So to solve the problem, in some street, the city should provide a public transportation priority scheme. Some lane for the public transportation, or some traffic lights should be rearranged, preferable to the public transportation. Anyway, travel time should be shorter. In case of Curitiba, several regular bus service has the same problem, and I suggested to introduce some bus lane and the traffic light change to the city, and it changed and it improved. But in your case, to go to the city center by the motorcycle is much faster. Then many people should use a motorcycle because it's faster. At least the public transport should be faster. Anyhow, okay. Hi.
Okay, I have questions for you. If you tell that the timing and the price is very important, the people who use the public transport. My opinion, I think we have one thing that is very important that we should be concerned about the status of the people, because the money of them. In Khon Kaen, I think mostly the people who use the public transport is not high income people. How we can change to middle income people, or we can accept the people who use the real public transport only in the people who have a status same. What do you think? Opinion?
Yeah,
because all of this very rarely to use the public transport, but should be bring the people who have a upper middle income to use.
Thank you very much. When we had this kind of lecture in the Asian regions, every time this discussion was happening. Yes, that's right. And in my understanding, especially in Thailand or the neighborhood countries, the range of the income is so wide. In Japan, it's narrower, so wide, and many people are thinking public transportation is originally for the low-income peoples, and that's true, yes. And it takes time, but we should change. Firstly, public transportation should be richer. Richer means at least clean and beautiful and comfortable. It's and secured. It's one thing. And the second one is to use low energy mode should be the pride. So smart people should use a better, should choose a better choice of the activity. One is they choose a low energy saving, energy saving mode or environment friendly mode. That's the smart. And richer people should smarter. So this kind of consensus should be enhanced. It's one thing. But once again, even in case of the Sonteo, the body should be cleaner. I don't think the air condition needs. Rather, it is cleaner and yes, yes, safe. It's safe. In case, for example, it's the Latin American country, the Bogota. It's the capital of the Colombia. Many people are using BRT rather than the private car. Even with like the suits and the tie, they are using a public transport. It's a very poor country, poorer than Thailand. Very poor, very poor country. But BRT is very popular among the middle to higher income people. The reason is very simple. It's safe. It's a very dangerous country. Even driving in waiting in the intersection, then someone comes. So bus is safer. So the security or the safe feeling, and also the somehow to high society feeling. So far, I have to say, all the bus system in this country have been spoiling these ideas. They are never considering how to catch the middle income people, how to catch the better environment. Rather, providing the cheaper service, I think that's a problem.
ขอแปล I can translate for my student เข้าใจอยู่ใช่ไหมที่อาจารย์ถามเรื่องของอาชีพคนสถานภาพเนาะครับคนจนก็ยังต้องใช้หลักการจริงแล้วก็ต้องทำให้เขาเยอะพอแต่ว่าถ้าจะทำให้คนอย่างพวกเราเข้ามันต้องทำให้อย่างเซงตุสเนี่ยต้องดูสมาร์ทโอเค sorry
So, the next one.
Don't worry, spend your times. The second lecture, Shino Sensei will be talking about the plannings and management of street for walkable cities.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shino Miura, assistant professor of Professor Nakamura's laboratory. And my major is the urban design, and especially on the street management and design. So today I'd like to speak about the planning and management of street for walkable cities. This content is a summary of my thesis. My topic, main topic of the research. So focusing on the policy making and the actual condition of the representative cities in Japan and the other countries. So recently, more and more streets in the world are redeveloped under the concept of walkability or public transportation and transit. As these existing data, as I showed in front of you, walkability has a correlationship with citizen life and the value of city itself. For example, there is data that more walkable city has competitiveness on attracting people than other city or other countries. In Japan, we are also in the paradigm shift of street design from vehicle-oriented one to people-first one at the moment. So this is a figure shows the typology of the latest environmental city policy in Japan. So vertical axis shows the target of the policy. So infrastructure for general citizens or residence for motivated citizens. And the horizontal axis shows the type of their suggestion. so new model trial or improvement of existing urban spaces. There are several policies, such as compact city or healthy urbanism, for the improvement of existing urban spaces, so the right side. The street innovation is one of the key parts to realize them, because street is one of the most fundamental infrastructure forming city. They are most effective target of the public investment, as I showed there. So the street and road area occupies so half of the public realm. Among the street network, main streets play a role as incubate space where people can try and experience new system and hardware because they are axis of city and public space for communication and community, which represents lifestyle of citizens. As everyone knows, Walkable City are not the recent implementation. There were another street innovation movement in the past. So this timeline shows the number of the passenger vehicle in blue color, and the dot pointed gray line shows the population growth. So it's kind of image. In Japan, 70s, after rapid motorization was the phase of the movement. Many pedestrian shopping streets or station area pedestrian zoning were planned. These are quick prescription against heavy air pollution or accident fatality rising. The movement was led mainly by the municipal mayor and realized with the collaboration of local communities. And in some cases, professional traffic planners supported the movement. First, I introduce one typical example at the time, Asahikawa Heiwa Mall in Hokkaido, so the north part of Japan. So Asahikawa is the first city which introduced pedestrian mall in Japan by mayor leadership. According to this practice, Japanese National Road Act also changed so as to define how pedestrian-only street should be in physically. Several similar malls are planned in like the Asahikawa. So this was the model for all over Japan at the time. So as you see in the picture, so this was the former car lanes, but they changed into green and walkable lanes. So the length of the street is almost 1 kilometer, so large axis in the city center. After 30 years of operation, the redesign was implemented. So this is the present condition of the Heiwa Mall. As the photo indicates, there is plenty space for the pedestrians to walk through, and the community place for visitors, so they can enjoy the talking to their friend or family. So I showed the map of the. So this is so small, sorry, but you can see the orange line. So this is the Heiwa Mall, and the other colorful building. Colorful shows the building use. Colorful area shows the building use. The mall was originally planned with the two core destinations, so as to connect the existing railway station, so the left side, and the new bus terminal, right side. However, the municipality couldn't acquire enough land for the terminal, so bus terminal, so the bus terminal was unrealized. As a result, northern means the right side, small roads have remained undeveloped compared to the station side. However, the small road has unexpected good point from the viewpoint of the micro-entrepreneur today. Because of the land price and the small size itself, there is a demand from creative shops and interesting artist shops. The big problem is increasing the parking, as I showed in the map by gray color. So more parking means less urban attraction for pedestrians. So one factor of this situation is the rectangle grid proportion of this town. This may influence this integration of land use, because half of one block, like I indicated in orange color, stakeholder faced to the two avenues. So not only Heiwa Street, but the street on the bottom side. So this means that decision making also becomes, this decision making also divided in two parts. So the Heiwa Mall could construct the pedestrian mall, so pedestrianized street, but they had the difficulty to make the walkable area. So they could make the access, but it's so difficult to make the integrated area for the walkable city. In addition, there is a demand of the heavy vehicle use by visitors from suburban area and the tourists. So this is also the problem of this area. So the city, the Asahikawa, tell us that in the long run, so to realize the walkable area, not only the making access is enough. So we need the incentive or agreement or sometimes enforcement on the land use of the surrounding area of the mall. Okay, so I go to the next slide. So how about the recent movement? So it was the 70s movement. So back again to the transition after 90s. So we are in the second renovation movement, more focused on the diversity of pedestrian activity. And they contribute making place for various activity on Main Street. So recent tendency is making the place, street design for place, by the flexible operation and compared to the typical old mall. So what is the place? So this is the concept of the suggested in New York City. So this is the idea of the, as I write down in the slide, a project for public spaces. So this simple meaning is in public space design context. It's explained by the picture named as Power of 10. So this picture. So it means that great city has the 10 major destinations inside, and each destination has the 10 places in each. And one place has the 10 things to do, and layout to create synergy between the visitors. Place is small realm for people, livable activity. For example, night market in Asian city, or outdoor reading shelves for children, and so on. So place requires flexibility because they are based on such people diverse activity. In this context, Main Street should be not only as a linkage of big destination, but also the assembly of places. With this concept of place and flexibility, special character of successful Main Street become more clear. First example is Munich, which have fostered pedestrian mall born in the same year as Asahikawa case. Inside of the city, you can see the borderline of the orange line. Inside of the area, the pedestrian network were introduced. You can see in a blue color line. The pedestrian network consists of not only public street, but also in private open spaces, where people can drink beer or enjoy art and so on. So you can see in the photo. The flexibility is seen in traffic operation. The area is now not only limited to the not limited to pedestrian only, but open to the cyclist now for certain time of the day, so such as night time. So this is reflecting the city policy pushing the bicycle use in this city. The other flexible operation example is weekend vehicle regulation in Tokyo. Metropolitan Police conducted vehicle regulation in busy streets in Tokyo. The first day of the regulation, so huge number of people enjoyed the experience. So this is all the people visited on the day of the closure of vehicle. So this is a map of the area of this pedestrian zone regulation. You can see the circle of the Yamanote line and some stations around it. And at the right side, there is the Ginza metro line, so the metro subway line is also here. The zone, you can see in the orange and blue color, had extended rapidly in 10 years. West side, so the left side, developed around the station. And the east side, it stretched gradually along the Ginza metro line. So you can see the orange line and the blue line. The air pollution was dramatically improved by this policy with this huge area regulation. Now the area is actually shrinked, but the three areas are existing now also. I mean, so especially the Ginza and Akihabara and Shinjuku is existing examples. I picked up the example of the Ginza as a representative one. By this 50 years operation, the importance of walkability has been recognized among private stakeholders, not only along street, but whole of these areas. So street, so how to say, you can see the street, but there is the orange colored area. So whole the stakeholder have some agreement on they make the collaboration to make the area walkable more. The special governance by private sector become active. So it means they've created local rules to make the place more comfortable for pedestrians. So the picture shows that they made a rule to not to make too much to tall building. So they keep the skyline of the middle volume buildings, or they should not make the parking exit in front of this main street. So this kind of the landscaping and parking location rule make the daily walkable district. So not only the weekend now. Okay. So the last and the very recent case I showed you is the street programs in US cities. So there is the street programs in several cities for example, New York or Los Angeles and San Francisco. They making the street program. So these programs are for making community square or street seat. They have the common point in the scheme. So as I shown in A to D. So they have the application form, local private stakeholders, so which means the square should be maintained by the community leaders. And the municipality makes the hardware of implement in a square. And such redesign of the street is kind of not doing freely, but they should keep the human-centered street design. So they have the guide to realize that. And to make the community, how to say, make the community maintenance smoothly. So advocacy group support the technically communities on maintenance and funding of the square. This kind of increase of street program is called as the climate of change in US. And this climate is to be said that formed by three situations. So one is the public vision for livable street, and private advocacy activity see the same direction in 2000. And the second one is economic crisis. So they prefer the not big one, but a mini but a secure project investment. And the last one is sharing the experience of the department transportation of each city. So they talk, the leader of the Department of Transportation talk along this street guideline or street policy, so that they can learn each other. And the web platform boosts this sharing experience or the information of the success of the city. Okay, so I want to show what is a plaza. So because it's not so familiar with us, so the letter is too small, so I just read through. So plaza is kind of the small lot with the pedestrianization of car lane or parking lane or traffic island. And they have the mover chair and a table with large plants and stones as board, so not to the vehicle entering. And the market or vendor or event and furniture for community is organized. And the process, making the process is quicker, lighter, cheaper. So generally only by painting of the surface of the road. After the success, more investment on the further redesign. So the right bottom side is the redesigned one. Okay. So they made so this is the New York case anyway. They made the success pilot project in Times Square on Broadway. They changed the congested car lane into square for people. The traffic safety were also improved by simplifying the intersection form. The Plaza program was under well-planned city agenda under Mayor Bloomberg. He declared open space within 10 minutes walk for every New Yorker. His approach was the data-basis policy making. So he always published the report to attract more interest on policy and activate the public and private invest. Also, the result visualized the local resource or problems effectively using the open data and the GIS integrated platform. When we see the timeline of the New York open data system progress on the right side, It is clear that the Plaza program can make use of the fluent of the open data source. Okay, let's skip this. The Times Square and Broadway pilot project I showed you became trigger, and so many community, over 40 community, become interested in this street design program, and many plazas are realized now. So, according to my survey, over 44 plaza management by applicant local communities are seen and cover both of the high income and immigrant area. And 80% adjacent to bus stops, so which means provide comfortable transit point. The other specific point is that the open borders of the street and park as one green infra. For example, some plazas have the experimental water filtration landscaping or location at the waterfront area. New York City broke the wall between the different administration departments, so the transportation department and environmental protection department. The city original street guideline enforced the collaboration reflecting the New York social and spatial features. Okay. Lastly, I summarized the trends in recently. 2 points are raised here. The first, transit mode redesign. So this is going to be accelerated by vehicle or traffic control of new technology. So one is the example in Japan. The city name is Himeji, and this is access to the station to the castle. So medieval castle. So this is a famous case in Japan. And the other idea for protective planning, forecasting the climate changes. Street design is going to be more adapted not only as traffic network but also as the green and water network. As I showed you, New York took such environmental planning concept in street plazas, and they made broader scale plan like this. I showed below at the bottom side. I assume these kind of proposals are going to increase in all over the world. These trends increase the next generation of walkable street design gonna be more innovative and interesting. Combination of developing technologies. So therefore, the co-working among the different sectors of the academic field are essential from now on. Okay, so this is my last slide. From the result of all these case studies, I conclude the presentation. This is the diagram for scheme cycle of planning and management streets for walkable cities. So the first, the blue one, the total open space vision is clarified, reflecting history, culture, and spatial structure. And then go to the yellow one. The pilot model at the most potential site in the city should be planned as booster for introducing model in other sites in the city. Guideline is also prepared, referring the management experience in pilot case. And under the guideline, decides the optimal location of the project places, considering connection with the environmental circulation in the city. In this phase, the profession of the placemaking, transportation, or water engineering and green landscaping are required. And the last part, the design and management phase involved much more local community by civic participation. These are important for motivating local people to invite the management process. So and attract them they gonna be have the love to the place. Then the realized space at many sites in the city wide enhance the whole city image and the lifestyle of the citizen. So these four phases makes the positive spiral of the street design and the planning. So this is all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.
I just want to know that have you ever come to Khon Kaen before?
Yeah, twice. Yes.
What do you think about how when we want to create place in the city? Because one thing that I heard from someone, they said that Khon Kaen city center is quite fit with the concept of walkable communities because the block within the city is quite small. And I'm not sure if you have time to look around the city center. I think from what you present, I think it's quite possible for Khon Kaen to develop something like a walkable city or walkable communities. But from my opinion, I think it's quite difficult to change people attitude or public behavior about walking. Because if we cannot create something that they walk to do they walk from one point to the other point to do something or to experience something. But if we cannot create anything for them to experience, so it's quite difficult to do that. And because the city center of Khon Kaen is declining, from what I see, it's quite hard to do the, yeah. I just want to share about our city and the problem of walkable city in walkable community in Khon Kaen city.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your question. As you mentioned, I think the good side in how to say the size of the grid itself is it's quite good for to making the city walkable. And there is the attractive land use or building use for example, market and nature park inside the cities. So I think that there is the the potential. So many inside Khon Kaen city center area, but they are too much independent. So there are no connection, or there are no how to say, not yet well organized to make some positive action to connect them each other. If they are connected, I think it becomes people's. It attracts people's interest to visit in the city center. And about the experience of the walkable environment. So, oh no, sorry. ちょっと待ってください。Just a moment. About the experiment, I think the Japanese this weekend pedestrian zone is one of the good example. So in 70s, Tokyo was the same condition. So with many traffic jam and accident, people are far from the working experience. But the policy decided to making the potential area to make some how to say, so dynamical experiment. And the result of the experiment was so successful, and the people around the street, so for example shopkeepers or the public officials, really become interested in this kind of the walkable city policies. So I think the one big or small, several small experiment to making the pedestrianization is the one of the good one of the my let's say proposal. Yeah.
I think this is I have a sharing idea. It's not question. It's not real question. I think this you told us that should be experiment first everywhere. If you want to make a walkable district or walkable place, something like. Now we start to do in Khon Kaen city, because of course the Dr. Monsicha told you that in my downtown, it's quite very have a potential for do walkable district. But we are quite in the last slide.
Yep.
It's very good for us to do because you have a quite very comprehensive about management and planning for good street for living. In Khon Kaen we have we point in the city downtown of the city because of we have many of magnet. Not only the physical of the blocks, which quite not too far, short block, and we have many of the magnet, market,
Yeah, exactly.
High school, police station, and own city. But now we try to have something like a activity management in the previous banking of national banking in Northeast, like some kind of the placemaking also.
Placemaking, yeah.
And I think this is my questions. If we are try to build some of area for walking district, is good or not good if people drive and parking and walk and back to the car and back home? Because the behavior like this, because in the city is no one live inside city.
Yeah. So in
So
the
we
yeah.
got to walk, we are walk
Yeah.
district. It's
So
a make walk district.
because of the separated the land use, you mean the residential area and the city center is not integrated. So it's not integrated. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think the at the first step to experience the walkability or the fun experiment of the fun experience of the walking is important because the idea one is to mix the residential area and the city center living area is integrated, and people don't need to use the vehicle. Is the ideal one, but to develop such vision in the long run, the first step is to motivate the people should know the walkability, the experience is so good for them, their health or for their mental, and the step should be so the step should be gradually. So first experience, and first maybe they can go by car in the center area and they get off the vehicle and they walk around, then go back home is enough at the first phase. But the next phase can be developed with if people become agree with the making the street walkable or pedestrianized. So it's a kind of step. So first step can be okay with the parking and from my opinion. So, but I don't know the Professor Nakamura.
Actually, I would like to share that maybe the vehicle, the car and motorcycle change the behavior of the people. Because when I was in 1988, when I was third year student here, KKU campus is a walkable campus. I walk from the classroom to the dormitory every day. Even at midnight, we still walk. But after second semester, all my friends come up with a motorcycle. I said, why not me? So after that, the motorcycle become part of our life, and everybody have a motorcycle. And nowadays, a group of students have a car, and then that become the traffic problem in university, and also in the downtown in Khon Kaen. Also, at that time, it's the need. We went out to downtown, and then we have to walk from one shop to another shop. But now the shopping is not like that anymore. It become in the department store, the shop house, commercial shop house. They like sell something that we don't need anymore. The change behavior of our walkable city, I think.
But I want to share, Professor Shamnan, because we have a project with the municipal authority for have some entrepreneur who live in the row house to bring them back to living and have a change in front of the house for something like a new startup for new entrepreneur for like catalyze. Because the Bank of Thailand, we think that this is a big catalyst for magnet people who come and share the experience in the city. It's just only the first step. But during the part of the day, maybe mornings until afternoon, people not walk. The same until maybe 6 o'clock until 12, no one walk in city. Probably we start to do like some of short part of the time in the city for people who walks.
So the climate or some, how to say, so the time of the day is influencing the people behavior, you mean? Yeah, I think that, so how to say, first I answer him then, okay. Yeah, I think that it's the common in Asian cities, and I think that in nighttime is better because of the hot climate to making the temporal the pedestrian zone. So, and maybe they can invite some economic activities, and they can make some startup. They can help the startup of the citizen entrepreneur. So I think it can be not only on daytime, but nighttime can be interesting. And about the department store problem, I mean, it's the same. We have the same situation in Japan, and but we have the because our population is decreasing, so the case is not the same. But the department store itself becoming also the, how to say, not all the department store can get the good sales, so they are disappearing in the city center. So I think the, how to say, it's then what happened to the city is again from the such failure of the department store made the shops again on the street. So I think so still has some dynamism depend on the population and economic things. So I think that both of the large, convenient, destination also, and the small things should be their activity should be so. It's so difficult to live each other by naturally. So I think some political things should be needed. Yes.
Well, thank you very much indeed for your nice presentation.
Thank you.
お発表どうもありがとうございました。Well, it would be appreciated if you can go back slightly to the previous slide that you showed the Shibuya area and that one. Yeah, I would like to have some outlook.
This one? Not.
With the regulations of expansion, the walkable area, the street.
This one?
Okay, this one also okay. On the right hand side, well, actually, we just have paid a visit to this zone. If you can remember the Shibuya area, they sell like Asics and maybe the biggest Onizuka tiger shop in Japan, also in the world also. That area is also near the Omote Sando Hills.
Yeah.
Also. Formerly I heard from my friends that they have like the planning, like regulation that plan this area to be the walkable city. And till this day, I heard officially from Shino Sensei. It's been very interesting because if we look back when I always pay visit to this area. For the Omote Sando Hills, if we cross the bridge and a little bit we go downstairs and like I don't remember the name of the building, but they sell like comment, they sell song like that. If we go slightly in the shopping market, like the walking street, they can mix the lifestyle of the people, like the mixed-use building, the middle-rise to high-rise building.
So small street.
Small street. That one is like a window shopping street. So I think that was the good examples for how to manage the city. According to previously the discussion. That they can mix the mixed-use building with the shop house type, the road type shopping.
And exactly.
I think that is very good instances. And if you can stay, I heard you will stay here for a couple of days. So if you can have a look on it at the Konkan City, I would like to get your idea after you got some experiences and to maybe compare, and we can discuss about this and Konkan City as well. Thanks a lot indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for comment. Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor Nakamura and Assistant Professor Miura, for the informative lectures. Today, I think everyone has a lot of enjoy academic journeys and benefits, a lot of knowledge that we challenge together. And finally, please give the big hand to our guest lecturer.